The guy who kept calling me just a friend completely lost it. Second, I introduced my actual boyfriend. Jake and I weren't dating, but we kind of were. He practically lived at my place, taking up half my closet with his gym gear and knowing exactly how I took my coffee every single morning. We spent every weekend together, binge-watching shows and ordering takeout from that one Thai place on 4th Street. He was my emergency contact, for crying out loud. But to him, we were just friends. I'd always catch these mixed signals. He'd hold my hand under the table or pull me close when it was cold, but the second someone asked, he'd freeze. I remember we were at my best friend's engagement party. Her mom smiled, looked at us, and asked how long we'd been together. Jake literally took a step back and laughed. Oh, no, we are not a thing. She's basically one of the guys. I felt my stomach drop, but I just smiled and nodded. When we got to the car, I finally asked him, why do you always say that? He just shrugged, looking at his phone, because it's the truth. Why ruin a good friendship? That was the moment. Something inside me just snapped. I decided to stop reading into his late night texts and stop making excuses for his fear of commitment. If I was just a friend, I would start acting like one. 2 months later, I met Ethan. Ethan was different. He didn't do the whole mysterious hot and cold routine. Our first date was incredible. He looked me right in the eyes and said, I really like you and I want to see where this goes. No games, no confusion, just honest. Then, the 4th of July rolled around. I hosted a big barbecue at my place. Jake showed up 3 hours early, acting like he basically owned the house. He was manning the grill, handing out beers, and playing the perfect co-host. My neighbor walked over and teased him. So, Jake, when are you gonna put a ring on her finger? Jake didn't miss a beat. He let out a loud, scoffing laugh that carried over the patio. Man, how many times do I have to say it? We are strictly platonic. She's practically my little sister. Just friends. I was standing right behind him holding a tray of buns. The sheer audacity of him saying that in my own backyard was the final push I needed. The front gate clicked open. I took a deep breath, walked right up next to Jake, and spoke loud enough for the neighbor to hear. You're totally right, Jake, which is perfect timing, because my boyfriend just got here. Jake froze. The heavy metal tongs clattered onto the concrete deck. I walked straight to the front gate. Ethan walked in, looking incredibly handsome, holding a bottle of wine. He didn't just give me a polite peck. He pulled me in by the waist and kissed me like he meant it. I grabbed his hand, led him right into the center of the patio, and looked at Jake. Jake, this is Ethan. Ethan, this is my friend Jake. Jake looked like he had been struck by lightning. The color completely drained from his face, only to be instantly replaced by a furious, splotchy red. He abandoned the grill entirely and stormed over to us. Boyfriend? Jake snapped, his voice cracking loudly enough that the music suddenly seemed too quiet. Several of our friends stopped talking and turned to look. What the hell do you mean, boyfriend? Ethan extended a hand, calm and completely unfazed. Nice to meet you, man. Jake ignored his hand completely. He glared at Ethan, then turned his panicked, angry eyes on me. Are you kidding me right now? We were literally cuddled on your couch watching movies last night. Patio went dead silent. You could hear the charcoal popping on the grill. I felt the heat rise in my chest, but I held my ground, keeping my voice steady and clear. Yeah, Jake, because we're friends. Friends watch movies. Isn't that what you've been telling everyone for 2 years? Isn't that what you literally just told the neighbor 30 seconds ago? Jake stepped closer, lowering his voice into a desperate, possessive hiss. You know it's different than that. You're mine. I am absolutely not. I fired back, refusing to lower my voice. You made sure of that every single time someone asked. You wanted all the perks of a girlfriend with none of the commitment. I looked him dead in the eye, feeling 2 years of weight finally lift off my shoulders. Well, the free trial is over. Jake stood there, mouth opening and closing, utterly derailed. He looked around the patio, suddenly realizing half the party was watching him implode. Humiliated, he grabbed his keys off the patio table, knocking over a half-empty beer in the process. Have a great night, man, Ethan said mildly, pulling me just a fraction closer. Jake stormed out without a word, slamming the gate so hard the hinges rattled. When the fireworks finally went off later that night, I was wrapped securely in Ethan's arms. For the first time in 2 years, I knew exactly where I stood, and it felt amazing.